morning, welcome to Mishmash Monday. My name's Dawn, I'm the Reclusive Crafter. Today I've got a bit of an update for you on the Alice in Wonderland treasure book meeting digitals. And so far I have taken it all to pieces, as you can see. So we've got a front cover which will need to be covered on the inside, and we've got a back cover which will also need to be covered on the inside, and I will probably cover the back of this one as well, but I won't be covering the front because I want to keep that as is. I've also managed to get off the gold index of the treasure book, which is one of their features on their books, and I wanted to try and add that back in. So that's going to be going on to the spine when I'm ready to do the spine. So the cover is ready now to be put together and designed, and I just need to decide how that's going to work and what I actually want it to look like. Okay, so that's all ready for use, as is the gold strip. So that's all very lovely. And then I'm also pleased to say I have got the signatures sorted out. So I've been beavering away to get this done for you so that I could show you what I'd done. Now, you may recall in the last video I showed you this front piece, and the little one that had the book prior to me getting hold of it had scribbled on this section here in blue crayon. So all I have done is I have photocopied the front because I've got a number of these books. I had one that hadn't been scribbled on, so I photocopied the front, and I've made a pocket out of that front section. So hopefully you can see there, the scribbly bit is still under there, and I've made a pocket on that front page there on a piece that I have basically photocopied from another book. So I think that works really nicely, actually, and I'm really pleased with how that's gone. So that will be used to tuck in, I don't know, a journal card or a tag or something. Haven't decided yet, but it's usable, which is lovely. And then what we do is, if we go through into the signatures themselves, the treasure books are actually quite wide. So this is actually 16 centimeters, which is just slightly under 6.5 inches. So they're quite wide, these little books, and the standard A4 size in the UK is only 5.5 inches wide. Okay, so as you can see, there's a bit of a discrepancy between the two. Now, I have trimmed down as much as I can without it affecting the look of the pages too much, the little treasure book. So it would have been a lot wider than this, but I think I've taken off a good 1.5 centimeters maybe off of this side to try and shrink it down a bit. Possibly not as much as that, actually, but yeah, so I've trimmed that off, and I've also worked out what I'm going to do so that when you're walking through this, it doesn't look quite so odd. And I'll show you that little trick in just a moment. I'm just going to walk you through the signature first of all, so you can see what I've achieved up till now. So I've put Alice here. I've got a couple of little journal pages in the front there, and then we come into the treasure book itself. So I've got Alice's Adventures of Wonderland there, and then Alice's in Wonderland there, which was obviously the Disney version. Then we've got another couple of journal pages. So we've got some journaling pages there. We've got the little treasure book there. This little page here, now we'll just explain this. This isn't actually part of the digital kit. This is out of my own stash. You may recall I mentioned that I'd done an Alice in Wonderland journal for my daughter a few years ago, maybe a couple of years ago. And this was a sheet that I had left over, and I just wanted to just make use of it, really. So I have incorporated it in here, but I have backed it with the digitals from Scrimping Mummy. I've distressed all of the edges on this because I think this particular journal works well with the distressing. And then in the centre of this one, we've got the Mad Hatter and we've got Alice. And then as we come through, I've tried to keep the story pretty much in line with the digitals where I've been able to. So for instance, where Alice is having the drink at the table, the next page along is where she's looking for the key of the table. So she will have drunk the drink, shrunk down, and now she's looking for the key. So I've tried to give it some relevance in where I've placed things. And then we've got I've only got a couple of duplicated pages because I'm doing a two signature journal on this, but they are only going to be 9-page signatures. So they're going to be relatively slim signatures, but there are going to be 2 of them, and it was the best way that I could make this work, and I'll explain why in just a moment. So then we've got Alice, obviously, with Tweedledum and Tweedledee here, and then you may recall when I took the book to pieces, there were 2 pages that were completely separate. They were actually attached, I think, to the inside cover. So what I've done with those, I've just literally cut them so that they were just separate pages, but then I've reattached them at the end of each signature with this rather pretty, I don't want to call it ribbon. I'll show you what it is. It's not, it is a sort of ribbon, but it's a fabric. I know all ribbons are fabric, but it's not a satin ribbon. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's more of a cotton ribbon, which is why I don't really want to call it a ribbon. And again, I've had this in my stash for ever and ever and ever, and I just thought it worked beautifully with this particular journal. So I've used that to reattach the 2 loose pages that I ended up with this little book. Okay, so that's one of them. And so as you can see, that's one signature there, and then this is the second signature. And as you can see, when they actually go into the journal, that's all going to marry up and look quite lovely, isn't it? So I'm very happy with the way that's come out. And then, have I got that the right way around? Yes, I have. Thought for a moment I hadn't. And this, again, this was another one of the pages from my previous Alice journal that I did. And again, I just wanted to incorporate that as well. And then on the back of that, I've got the beautiful digital from Scrimping Mummy's collection as well. So I've utilised virtually all of her collection in here. In fact, I don't think there is anything I haven't incorporated. And then I've added just a couple of those sheets from my own collection as well. All right, and then as we walk through, I'll just take you to the end of it. We've got little Alice here, we've got the Cheshire Cat here, and I think, I've got the Cheshire, that's right, so the Cheshire Cat is there, and then this is the digital version of the Cheshire Cat as well. So as you can see, I have tried to keep it as true to the story as I can where the digitals would allow me to do that. And then we've got Alice at the tea party, and we've got Alice at the tea party here. And then as we come in to the centre page of this particular signature, we've got the tea party there. And I just love that page. I think it's beautiful. So again, I tried to be as sympathetic with this as I possibly can be. All right. Then we've got the tea party there. We've got Alice and the croquet, which is where she comes along and meets the cards painting the roses red, just before that. And then this is where she's running away and the cards are all starting to attack her. And this is obviously where she's running away here. And then this is the end of the story in the treasure book one. And so I've just got a few extra little pages there. Oh, I've got that the wrong way around. Oh no, that is the wrong way around. That's because that should be in there. yeah, I had the signature in the wrong way around, not the papers. Oh, nearly scared myself then. And then that's obviously the back page. Yeah, so that's how that goes. Okay, so that's as far as I've got with that. Now, the issue we have got with the pages being quite a bit bigger than the digital pages. I have in my stash some of this. And I'm just going to stand up so that I can just see that you can see it. Hopefully you can see the design on there. It's gold and roses and greens, and it's just beautiful. I'm just hoping that the camera is going to pick that up nicely for you. So that is one of my ideas. What I'm going to try and do, and I say try and do because if it fails, I'll just print off some more pages and try something else. So I've got some of this, and I've probably got enough to do, I think, about 6 to 8 pages. I think I haven't actually worked it out. My intention is I'm going to be folding it over like so, and then I'm going to attach it to the side of the page there. It's going to be a bit fiddly. It's going to be a bit of a job to do, so I'm not going to do this on camera. I'm just talking you through what my intent is, and then bring that out so that it ends up being the same width as the treasure book pages, and then that will not only give it a lot of pizzazz, which I think is just beautiful, isn't it? So that's what I'm going to do on some of the pages. I think it would be too much to do that on every page, but I'm going to pick out certain pages where I think it would be relevant to put that on. So that's what I'm doing with some of them. And then with the others, I've gone through my lace collection, and I've got, I wouldn't say I've got lots of laces, I haven't, but I have got some laces that will also work to give an edge, again, to bring the page out to the same level as the treasure book. So that's what I'm intending to do with that. So that's basically as far as I've got just at the moment. And again, this is, I think watching me stick lace onto pages is going to be a little bit of a bore. So I'm not going to bore you all to death with doing that. But I am going to make a start on this today. And the reason I'm going to make a start on this is because I've got an idea of how to do it. So I'm going to show you what my intent is, and we'll see together if it works, because if it works, it'll just be a triumph and I'll be very happy. Thank you very much. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do with that. So I shall make a start on that. So I'm going to pull this page out because I would like to put it on the front page, although I'm saying that, do I want it on the front page or do I want it on there? No, I'm going to put some on the front page so that when you open up the journal, you've got that beautiful pizzazzy bit. So let me move that out of the way and let's see how far I can get. So like I say, that's going to fold over like so. And it needs to come out by about 1.5 centimetres. That's the theory. So I'm going to fold that over. I think it was 1.5 centimetres. Yeah, needs to come out by roughly 1.5 centimetres. So if I fold that over and measure it, that's actually, once it's folded, it's actually 2.5 centimetres. Let me squash that down so I can measure it properly, because it's quite important to get this bit right, because otherwise it will look awful. Okay, so it's actually just under 2.5 centimetres. So it needs to come out by 1.5 centimetres. So it wants to go over onto the page by at least a centimetre, doesn't it? So a centimetre would be just on that line there. And I can't afford to come out any further than that because of the width of these pages. I need to make sure that they are no more than 16 centimetres wide. So I'm trying to keep it below the 16 centimetre width. So by doing that, it brings it out to about 15 and a half ish. Oh, all these calculations, honestly. So that is what I'm doing. So I am going to get my little glue mat out so that I don't mess things up. Exciting times, huh? And oh, that's the wrong glue. We certainly don't want that glue for sure. And you'll be pleased to hear I filled up my glue bottle. Yay me. I am so clever. Not right then. Oh, that wasn't supposed to come out of there, you silly Billy. There we go. Let's pop that back in there. Right then, so let's see how we get on with this little job. So I reckon that needs to come in about there. I don't want to go too mad with the glue, but we do need to make sure that this sticks because it has this little ribbony thing I'm using has got a little metal edge there. I don't want to cut it off because I think it will just fray if I do that. I wonder actually, can I pull it out? I might be able to. Oh, I can. I didn't think to do that. Oh, silly me. I can pull it out. Look. Ha-ha. So I now don't have to worry about the metal bit. So that's fab. That's already made my life a little easier. Now then, what way around do I want this? I think I'm going to pop it that way around. And I'm going to pop that on there. Okay, now we're going to need to be a little bit patient because I need to make sure this stays in place. Okay, I'm going to turn that over. And what I'm now going to do to try and make things a little sturdier, I'm not sure I've got enough of this to do the whole lot, but I'm going to put... I haven't. Oh, rats. Have I got any more double tape? Bear with me, guys. I'm just going to have a look and see if I've got any more double tape. I don't use double tape very often, but I have to be honest, it is useful sometimes, but I really don't think I've got any more of it anywhere. Oh, interesting. So I might have to... Yeah, I think I'm going to have to order some in. That's a bit annoying, isn't it? Oh, that's such a shame. I didn't... No, I haven't got any more anywhere. Okay. So, what I am going to do, I am going to put some double tape down on there. I'm just going to cut some of this into bits just to do this piece with. I'm not going to put it all the way along, but I am just going to give it something to fold over onto, which I think will make life a little bit easier. I'm going to have a root around after the video to see if I can actually find some more tape, because I felt sure I had loads of it. Who knew? Right then, so that's just a little bit there, just to help give the fold over a little bit of purchase. Okay. Now I need to try and get it up. I can never do these. Come on, up you come. Yay, that's one piece. And two bits. and 3 bits. There we go. And now what I want to do, where's the glue? There it is. I'm going to pop some more glue down here. And just pop a little bit along the tape as well. Okay. And I've got a leaky glue bottle as well, just to add to the bargain. That's not great, is it? And now, very carefully, fold that over onto there. Now, all being well, that'll hold in place. And we'll see what it looks like. Oops, I'm sticking to it. I don't want to do that. Just need to make sure that it does actually stick down. You need to be very patient when you're crafting, don't you? Being in a hurry is not a good thing. Okay. Right, I think, where's my little, just going to pop this. This is just a little plastic spatula that I use when I'm using the 3-in-1 on lace. It just helps you to give it a little bit of pressing down without it getting stuck, basically. Okay, how's that side looking? We're looking okay, I think. Looking okie dokie-muss. Right, let's trim off and see where we're at with it. See if I've been successful. That's that one. It's nerve-wracking doing things like this on camera because it's so easy to mess up. So easy to mess up. Right, now then. So, what do we think? Do we like it? I'm not sure that I do yet, but we shall see. Let me pull this out of there so that I don't get glue on everything. Let me pop this in here and just make sure I've not gone out. I haven't, so that's perfect. Okay. Wow, couldn't have done that any better if I'd have tried to. So there we go. So that's the first one. So now, when I open that up, we've got a beautiful edge in there. I love that. I wasn't sure I would, but I actually really like it. But I do want to trim it up properly. Okay, lovely. Let's give that another little bit of a trim there. And then to make sure this doesn't fray, I'm just going to run a tiny little bit of glue just across this bit here. Just down there. And then that helps to stop it fraying because we don't want it to fray. Okay, and I'm going to do the same this edge. So just the tiniest little bit of glue just across the edge of it. And then just squash that into place. And now that should stop that fraying. Lovely job. Now I'm going to just leave that now to dry. Okay, and I'm going to leave the video there now. We'll be back for No Waste Wednesday. No Waste Wednesday, I am going to be working on my ideas journal. And then I will be back again for Quickfire Friday, when I'll give you an update. I'm going to be working on this behind the scenes, because otherwise it will take up far too many videos to show you everything. But if I think there's something relevant that you would like to see done, obviously I will show you that. And if I do show you anything that I've already done but you'd actually like to see me do it, if it's one that I don't show you, I just talk you through, then let me know, because I'm quite happy to do whatever you guys want me to do. Okay, so that is it for today, people. Enjoy your week, and I will look forward to seeing you all for No Waste Wednesday, when I'll be doing a little bit more to my big ideas journal. Okay, have a great week. See you soon. Bye.